Well, hey everyone again. Thanks for being here. Good to see you all today. And thanks for joining our TDT Insider Spring Series. Today, we're really excited to talk. We're really going to be highlighting TDT Asset and TDT Help Desk, three features in particular. And so the objectives for today are we're going to talk about the portal form builder in Help Desk, and then we're going to look at the kiosk and departments in Help Desk. So we're going to be jumping back and forth between help desk and asset today. But really, the biggest thing about all of these features, at least the first two, are these are really going to be tied together to help you process bringing in tickets and incidents. So if people need support of any kind, if students break devices and need loaners and things like that, this is going to help, take some work off of your all's hands and also help you collect more information on the bringing those things in. And then when we get to departments and help desk, this is a really helpful feature that's going to be talking all about how to bring the rest of your district into TDT help desk, which can potentially save your district some money and also just streamline processes. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. But before I say anything else and before we move forward, I do just want to mention that if you have questions throughout this, feel free to drop them in the chat, but we will leave some time at the end of the webinar in case you guys have any questions as well. And then, as always, feel free to just email us at support@learn21.org. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is the TDT Help Desk end user portal. Now, this is a feature that has come a really, really long way since we first launched the program last February. And this is part of the ticket creation process in TDT Help Desk. Obviously, people can still, just send an email to create a ticket in TDT Help Desk, but we can also utilize this end user facing portal. The way that it works is that your students and staff can just single sign on with Google, Microsoft, or ClassLink, whatever accounts they have. And then the nice thing about that is it automatically captures that information and it ties that back if you have your SIS data syncing so that those users are connected and you can see that contextual data when they put the ticket in, like their schedule data and things like that. So we're actually going to start with Help Desk first, and we're going to do a little bit of a demo today so that you guys can kind of see this in action. Now, first things first, this year, not everything that you're going to see right now is exactly what a student or staff will see because obviously I'm a technician in TDT Help Desk. But essentially, when someone single signs on and they're a student or staff, all they're going to see is TDT Help Desk here, and then portal, and then this little help button here. Now, by default for your staff and students, basically they will just see a customizable text here that you can set in the settings. But once they single sign on, we can customize this landing page here. And then when we hit create new support request, we can actually set up multiple forms in TDT Help Desk. You don't have to. It can drop people right into a specific form if you just want to keep things simple. And people can also select which department a ticket can go to without having to have multiple forms. But having multiple forms is obviously a great way to help you collect different pieces of data. Also, these forms can be linked to specific departments. So if you obviously do have maybe a tech support request or a maintenance request, you want to make sure that those only go to the right technicians. And so we can link all of that in the back end in our new portal form editor. Now, just to kind of show you what one of these forms looks like, we can go ahead and just click on one of these and it'll bring us right in. And this is fully customizable. So I'll show you the portal form builder here in just a little bit. But a really nice thing about this is we automatically capture the information of who is submitting the ticket. So they don't even have to put that in. And then again, they can very easily, we can edit these forms however you need to capture information, or we can keep them pretty simple. Another nice thing here too is if they accidentally click on the wrong form, they can just go ahead and, switch between any of these forms right here. Now, the biggest thing is that's pretty straightforward, and we want to obviously keep things as simple as possible for your end users. And we're going to jump in really quick to the portal editor. Before we do that, I do want to just mention that your end users can actually see their message request history. Now, technically speaking, they'll be able to see all of these tickets that they can put in here, and they can even reply. But They don't have to. So one of the big things, obviously, is that most of the communication between your students and staff with you as technicians will probably just take place for the end users in the email, but they can still see their request history here if they need. All right, so now this just went live, I believe, yesterday in TDT Help Desk. And so if you are using this product currently, you're actually able to go into the product now. And if you click on the admin tool, you will see under department management here, the portal management page. Now, this portal management page is where you can edit all of the different things that you need. And so just to see here, we have a couple of options where we can create a new form, but then we're also able to list and even rearrange the order of our forms and how they're going to appear to students and staff. Now, in addition to that, you can also actually limit which forms are available to your students and staff based on the user type in the SIS. Now, this is really useful mainly just for limiting students to see only specific forms in this form if you want them to. But it can be used if you also have specific forms for technicians. Now, with this, if we need to create a form, we can just go ahead and hit create. We can give it a name, a title, and we can add a little description here, typically something just like, please fill out the form. You can also give it a color here or on the previous page. Now, the default questions here just add some pre-seeded questions that populate things, but you can obviously delete these if you need to, but it's always just nice to have somewhere to start if you need to. And then these are probably the most important settings right here in the Portal Form Manager. This is where you can add departments to your portal forms. Now, again, you don't have to do this. There's actually a departments question in the question editor that I'll show you in just a second, where if you just want to have one form, but you have multiple departments, you can let your end users pick which department their message goes to. But again, this will just by default say this is going to go to the tech department. Then you're also able to choose from all of your different associated mailboxes, which is really important because either way, if you put departments on this or not, you're going to want to associate a mailbox because that's what's going to help you as technicians receive those ticket created notifications. The ticket will get created without having this here, but again, it just won't send you a ticket created notification if you're signed up for those. Now, finally, here we have the ability to actually limit the form to specific user types, and we also have the ability to hide the form. This can be helpful if you do have specific forms that maybe only administrators should be able to use or other people where you can essentially hide the form, but get the form's URL and share that with specific users that should have access to it, but then no one else can. So again, that's how we create a form here. And actually, let's just go ahead and create one from scratch just so you guys can see that. We'll just do test form. We'll call it test, add this, and we'll go ahead and add the default questions just so you can see that. So once we create this form, it's going to then add it to our list here. And then again, you can rearrange these as need. But to edit the questions, you're just going to want to click on this blue button here to manage the form questions. Once we do that, it's going to take us into the portal question management. And this where you can actually edit different things here that you just put in on the portal form create page. But you can also really easily with our drag and drop editor, edit your form however you need. So we can move these around. We can also click on specific questions and remove them or duplicate them. But let's say we want to add a whole new question. We can hit add question here. And that's going to bring up this. We can choose a lot of different options from this. We can make it required, but most importantly, you can also choose from a huge list of question options. We can just do a text box, drop down, single and multi-selects, check boxes, and all sorts of things like that. Now, with all of these questions, you can also just go ahead, for example, if we wanted to do something just as simple as, what is your problem? Then we can also move them manually by the row and the column here. But like I said, you can drag and drop these. One thing to note too is that we can actually add a second column in here. Well, technically a third column. So you can have up to 3 columns of questions if you need. Once a question is created though, You can also add child questions, and this can be really good, especially if you're going to have forms that are going to have a lot of different questions and you want to reduce some of the clutter. We can make it to where certain questions will only populate based on what an end user selects. So for example, if I was to just edit this question and make it a checkbox, and then the next question that I create here, oh, I went ahead and did something wrong, but essentially we can go ahead and just create one and say, is this question triggered by an option from another question? Once we do that, it will show any available options and what the answers are for that. So it's important just to note that you can add child questions to hide the different questions and really help reduce that clutter and only make things available based on what your end users select in the portal form. All right. So that's kind of the biggest part of the portal form management. I do have Eric Davin and some of our help desk team in here today. Eric, am I missing anything? Anyone else, you guys can just let me know. Or if you guys have any questions, you can guys let me know in the chat. We can take a little second to pause here.
I think it looks good, Clay. Let's just see if there's any questions.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to give it a couple more seconds and then we're going to go ahead and move on over to the asset kiosk. But before we do that, I'll give you guys just a couple more seconds in case we do have, and we can ask more questions at the end too. All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to TDT asset here. And one thing is that with TDT asset and with our portal, I do want to make it really clear that for these workflows, your best case is if you want to create incidents or you want your students or staff even to create incidents on their own devices, my advice would be to use the pre-built TDT asset kiosk. We have had some districts request that we create a similar type of portal form, but the incident kiosk is right here. And it goes ahead and creates incidents in TDT asset that are linked to students and their devices. Now, we do have a new feature actually, though, where you can create a portal form question that actually will link to a kiosk profile that you create. So just to kind of give you, this is what the kiosk looks like. And typically what a lot of our districts that utilize this feature do is they'll actually put this on a physical device, a Chromebook or an iPad or something in the media center or the library or the front office, where people can go in here and add these things. But let's say you do want to give your students and staff the ability to access the kiosk on their own device or anywhere else they can access the portal. We can do that and we can just make this portal form here clickable and it will redirect you immediately to a chosen kiosk profile. So this is a really good way, again, even if you're just kind of wanting to make this available for the few cases where it might happen, we can absolutely accommodate that and give your students kind of a one-stop shop to access the kiosk and all of their portal forms that they need. But essentially, with the kiosk here, you have a couple of options by default in the incident kiosk. You can either do a repair incident or you can actually do a forgot incident profile. These are really good to help you separate your all's workflow, whether you want students to, touch base with a technician if they broke their device. We do have a lot of districts that primarily use the forgot incident just to help them hand out loaners really quickly. We're going to start here with the repair incident profile though, just to kind of show you all how that works. And as you can see here, you can go ahead and sign in or sign out of TDT asset, and you can add this to your device in a actual kiosk mode in the Chromebook or the iPad, depending on which device you're using. But how this works is, let's say that our student William here needs to come in and he's broken his device. What he can do is, instead of going to a media specialist and having them create the incident manually for them, William can actually come up to the kiosk here and he can put in his student ID or his email address. And then he can also go ahead and type in the asset tag or the device serial number of his device here. So what we can do is if I just go ahead and do his serial number and hit continue. Wait a second. I think I might have done the wrong one. Let's see here. Well, that was his asset tag earlier, and this happens. So
Is it
give me
Demo Pro?
Demo Pro, not Device Pro. Thank you.
No
There we
problem.
go. Thank you. So with that, it'll go ahead and take him into this area where he can add his issues. Now, the great thing about this is actually pulling the incident issues. If you do have custom issues, your students will be able to pick from those in the kiosk. But let's say that William went ahead and said, I broke my keyboard. He can put that in. He can also add any additional comments so he can tell you and he can be very honest and say he did not rip these keys off. He went ahead and, it was his seatmate or his dog that did it actually. But we'll go ahead here and he can just review this information and he can confirm the incident creation. Once he does this, it essentially will give them a notification here that say, hey, please see your school loaner provider to receive a device. We can also change this text to reflect something more accurate to what your students are used to, whether they get it from specifically the office or the media center or someone in particular. You could actually send that information here. But once we hit finish or it refreshes, it just reopens the kiosk screen, and which again makes it really helpful whether a student is accessing it from their own device or from kiosk device in the actual media center or office. But for us here, what we'll do is I'll take us right back to the demo. And this is what it's going to look like for you as a technician or your media specialist that's actually going to be giving the student a loaner. The nice thing is here, if we just go into incident management, this is already created, and your technicians or your media specialists don't actually have to create this for the student. Instead, all they need to do is come in here and click Finalize Incident. It's going to pull up this screen here, and they're going to be able to, and you can actually edit these after the fact because as much as we would like to think so, our students aren't always accurate, whether they mean to or not, about all the, damage that may have occurred. So your media specialists are absolutely able to edit these things on finalization. They don't have to though, because you can do it as well. But most importantly is they can come down here and choose to issue them a loaner. So we can actually just go ahead and scan in the serial number or the asset tag, and we can choose whether we want to give this device to them as a loaner. Maybe they need it for a couple days while the repair is taking place, or maybe they just need it as a daily loaner, or heaven forbid, they drove over it with their, dad's four-wheeler and this is a hot swap assignment. They can choose any of those things. They can also choose to send out notifications if your school has that process in place to let people know a loaner has been issued. But then we can just hit finalize creation. And that's essentially all that your media specialist or your technician that has to do this.
One other thing I wanted to add really quick is that we do
Mhm.
have a notification event that can be triggered upon the incident getting created in the kiosk. So that's really nice in case you guys aren't able to, frequently be able to check that incident management page. You can actually subscribe to the event and it'll go ahead and send you guys an email when that student has created an incident. So that's kind of your trigger to say, okay, I have to go make sure I finalize that incident or go check in and see what's going on. That just gives you guys the opportunity to have that notification. From Q, is there a web or app form to use with the tablets and kiosk?
As far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure that there is actually like a built-in kiosk mode for Chromebooks and iPads. I'm not sure if I think as far as what needs to be done on our side is you just need to provide that link to the kiosk as the device kiosk mode that it's going to be in. I'm not entirely sure. Allie, does that sound about right?
Yeah, from the people that have used Chromebooks, a lot of them have used some sort of lockdown mode that they're deciding inside of Google Admin Console with certain permissions and privileges. Um, you know, that only that kiosk is running and it's in full screen and they're not able to escape out of there. And then like Clay was mentioning earlier, people are also having their students access these from their personal devices sometimes, and they're leaving a link on like the launch page for their students inside of their Chrome window or whatever that may be. And thank you, Cody. For kiosk mode, you just set it to auto launch a web page and
Yeah.
put the URL. Yep, exactly. And then Cody, as far as your question about loaner versus daily loaner, that's really just a clerical thing for you guys. If you guys kind of can pick and choose what those mean to you, they're just separate statuses that are kind of helpful to distinguish for you guys at the district level.
Yeah, and that is something that also it's helpful in reporting too. And so you can actually run reports by your daily loaners or your loaners. That you didn't come here for this, but I'm going to give you a really quick workflow that a couple of our districts do use is to get those daily loaners back at the end of the day. Some of our school districts will actually run a daily loaner report, export it as a CSV, and then come into your device management here, bulk integration actions, and bulk disable these devices. And so you can actually use this. You just want to be very careful and train your staff if you do want them to do this to actually go through and make sure they're only getting the daily loaners at their building. But as a former middle school teacher, I can tell you this kind of stuff works because either the kid will realize it's a loaner and they just forgot, or they'll be furious with you that they can't access Cookie Clicker or whatever it is that they were on, and they'll come asking you why their Chromebook isn't working. And then you can just get it back from them. So, again, that's just one of those things when you're running these reports. Those are some workflows that you can use to try and help you get your loaners back. But one of the last things I want to mention here about Kiosk is again, we won't go through just for time constraints here. We won't go through the forgot incident profile, but we won't do the whole workflow. I'll go ahead and mention. But with this, there is a little confusion. I was a little confused just because I didn't know at first. But the forgot device incident is really nice because what your students can actually do here is obviously the device number, they don't know it because they left it at home. And so what your staff can actually do is the student can put in their information here. The staff can have the loaner device ready to go, and they can literally just type in the asset tag of the loaner or the serial number, or they can even scan it in here with a barcode scanner. And that is going to just help facilitate handing the loaner directly out to them. And so instead of actually going through and having to finalize an incident, all your staff member has to do is have the student put their information in, have the staff member type or scan in their loaner that they're going to be receiving, go through the rest of the workflow, which is exactly like what you saw minus the incident issues, and then it's just automatically assigned to them as a loaner device. So that's something that if you've done an onboarding with me in the past 6 months, I have told you wrong. And I'm telling you now that Allie has corrected me and told you that you don't have to have your students memorize their asset tags to use this kiosk. It actually is just helpful, mainly for your staff to be able to hand them out quicker. Allie, am I doing justice to this kiosk profile now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, with that being said, any thoughts or questions about the student kiosk? Your staff can technically use this too. Most of the time, it's your students, though. If not, we'll go ahead just for time and move on. But if you have any, we can spend some time at the end here. Let's see how to have the student kiosk prompt them with buttons for the forgot device or repair request. So we do actually have, it's not something that is as easy as just turning it on and off. We do have a student kiosk that we're working on making a little bit more accessible right now, which will allow students to choose from whether they're what type of incident that they're creating. So that incident kiosk here, essentially, like I said, we're working on making it a little bit easier to get, but the students will just be able to put in this information and they'll actually be able to choose between what type of incident they're creating. So right now, the easiest and most accessible option is to choose between the needs repair or the forgot. But in the future, we're going to make the student kiosk a lot more available. The main thing is it was originally built for our lock and charge integration, which if you do have lock and charge towers, definitely shoot me an email and I'd be happy to help you figure out how to use our student kiosk with your lock and charge towers. But essentially, we just have had a lot of people request lately to utilize that student kiosk to let students pick between those. We just have to develop it and kind of untangle it from the lock and charge integration. So we do have that option available. But as of right now, the repair and forgot incident profiles, those are kind of the best way to go forward.
Hmm. And that really goes to say with any of these kiosk profiles, we do have the ability to make customizations. Unfortunately, it's just not as easy as it's been made to do inside of Help Desk. We don't have that builder available to you guys yet, so that's kind of a custom engagement where you're reaching out to us through support and we're kind of talking through that workflow. It can be really helpful for districts that have specific pieces of information that need to get put in by the student. We've had some districts that for their warranty repairs, they're required to ask students certain questions in order for the manufacturer to follow through with their warranty repairs. So we have the ability to kind of help cater those questions and make those modifications. It's just something that involves a little bit more talking with us. Is there a way to have the student take pictures of the damages and upload it to their tickets? As of right now, inside of Asset, there isn't. I think in Help Desk, you guys support attachments though on the portal, correct?
Yeah, we do support attachments on the portal. Now, I will say, Q, one thing that your staff members could absolutely do is when they are actually finalizing an incident, there is an attachments option on that finalize screen. But they can also add it here on the actual incident that's been open here. You'll see this attachment option. So if you want, again, there's not a way for students to do it themselves unless they put in a ticket, but or through the help desk. But if you want to keep it tied, at least at this moment, to the incident that they're opening through the kiosk, you could absolutely, hook a webcam up over by where that technician or the media specialist is going to be doing this. They could snap a picture of it and just the technician or the media specialist could upload that attachment either when they're finalizing the incident or here in the incident details screen. So that'd probably be your best bet for right now if you do want to have photos of that. But yeah, as of now, the students can't upload those on their own.
Um, Regarding Cody's question, he says to confirm you need three different kiosk devices, one for forgot device or loaner, one for device repair request, and one for help desk tickets. I think as far as like public devices go, you could get away with just doing the one kiosk. We could help build one of those that are let you choose between the forgot device incident and the needs repair incident. As far as help desk tickets go with the portal, I mean, I don't know, have you guys done help desk portal on public devices like that before? Have you seen that?
I'll let Eric speak to it a little bit more, but as of right now, the portal's just been used for actually people submitting it on their own device because you do have to single sign on to access the portal as of now. We have talked about making some different authentication types, but again, most of the time, if they're going to be putting in portal request tickets, they're going to probably need to do that via their own device where they can log in. Just for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and move us forward, but we can ask more questions. You can go ahead and drop them in the chat and we can address them here. But I just want to make sure I get through departments. So we're going to switch over to that. Again, continue to drop your questions though if you need. So coming back to TDT Help Desk, something that we implemented a couple months ago was the ability to have multiple departments in TDT Help Desk. Now, the first thing I want to say up front here is we do not charge you for additional departments. If you want to use TDT Help Desk to cover your tech team, your maintenance crew, your transportation, HR, any of those departments, you can add them in here for free. You can add your additional technicians. So we're not going to charge you for any of that. It's just the base fee that you're going to be paying or you're already paying for the product. So if you have TDT Help Desk now, you can go ahead and bring your maintenance crew in today, tomorrow, whenever you want. And we also are offering free staff trainings that I'll be helping with. So you can email support or me, and I can help train your additional staff members on how to use the program if that'd be helpful. But to set these departments up, you're just going to need to come here to the admin tool and go to department management. Now, essentially, the main thing that departments do is it helps you to segment your help desk out. Obviously, as a technician, you don't want to see when the sixth grade bathroom is overflowing again, or when someone needs a new light bulb, or and vice versa. They don't want to see Chromebook requests. My password needs to be reset, that kind of stuff. So department management is where you're going to be setting that up. And we just need to create a new department here. You can give it a name. You can associate the mailbox, add your technicians, and you can also put groups that can assign tickets. You can assign tickets to these groups and add your custom labels to put on tickets to specific departments. Now, the big reason you see these little question marks here is because we do allow you to edit all of this information from their own management screens. You don't have to do it here, but you can. So once a department is created, then you can add those technicians. And once someone's in a department, they cannot actually edit other departments. So you don't have to worry about people accidentally messing with stuff outside of their department. But they will be able to just see their tickets. And that's a really important thing. The next thing, though, that's important with this is the mailbox management. I won't go through all of this in detail, but as of now, if you're using TDT Help Desk, there's a good chance you just have your tech department's email in here. If you want to bring your maintenance crew or anyone else over, then you can just add these mailboxes to them. And now there is the option in the Create Mailbox screen, if we do this, and you can do Google or Microsoft, but you can actually come down here and select which department it's going to be associated to. And that just means that only techs in that department will get them. And also technicians in that department will be able to have their outbound mail come from that address. So that's an important thing to note. Now, another thing with departments that is really cool though is let's say that there is a ticket that needs to be shared across the department. This does obviously happen, and we can actually help with this. And so let's say that this Frank Smith ticket here with his room lights out, it originally goes to maintenance, but for whatever reason, the tech team needs to come in on this. And so your technicians can actually come into the settings here and they can edit the departments and they can add these. Now, obviously, they can remove them, but if it is something that you need to share, you can just add multiple departments on this, and those departments will be able to work on this ticket together. So that's just something too that is really nice about having all of your departments in one help desk system instead of using multiple ones is in those cases where you do need to potentially collaborate, it's really easy to facilitate that in TDT Help Desk just by editing your departments in the ticket. So we just need to update this, and now this ticket becomes visible to people in the tech and the maintenance department. So essentially, that is as easy as it is to set up your additional departments. But Eric, am I missing anything about departments that I should add? And then we've got about 15 minutes left of the webinar. If people have questions or thoughts or anything like that, we can answer.
I think that was good, Clay. Just a note that whenever you create those departments, you can also add which um, labels that that department can specifically see. So it's not just tickets that are segmented,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also segmented by labels as well as um, ticket views as well.
Yeah. Now, one thing, Don, I see your question. I'll answer that in just a second. But to kind of build off of this is one thing when you have TDT Help Desk, and as of now, there isn't a notification built in to tell another department that a ticket has been added from a separate department. But there is a way where if you actually make your groups available to multiple departments, so if we actually go into group management here and we edit these, you can actually add these groups to all of your different departments. And what we can actually do with this is we can set up notifications that if we add this, you could assign the ticket to a specific group, and that actually pings the people in that group that the ticket's been assigned to them. Now, assigning tickets in help desk doesn't actually lock anyone out from being able to, work on the ticket. If you do need to collaborate, you don't have to request access to, work on a ticket with people. But this is a way, at least for the time being, that if you do want to ping within the software your other department, you could create a group and assign it to them and just send them a notification that, hey, this ticket's been assigned to you, to just let them know that you're sharing it with them. So that's something that I did want to mention just because we actually worked that out with another district on a call earlier this week, at least for the time being, just to notify again the other department members, hey, this ticket is here. It does show up for them, so they will see it. But if you just want to have that email notification, let them know this will work for that. Now, coming over to Dawn, so TDT Help Desk doesn't have it doesn't have, well, it does have a web app. Yeah, we don't actually have a full-blown like app in the App Store, but just so you can see here, what you can actually see, and let me go ahead and scoot that over so we don't have to see all the HTML, but it will format to your staff's phones. So if they just go to it via their browser, then you can actually go ahead and have people access this directly from their phones. They'll get notifications via their email, but again, they can jump right into this and everything is formatted. So if we actually click on a ticket, everything's formatted here to their mobile device where you can actually go in and show them the contextual information, show them the schedule data, and different things like that. So it does actually work on your staff members' phones. They can just go to tdthelpdesk.learn21.org and it'll just format for them. Okay, Eric, when multiple departments are selected, can it be expanded to show all of those departments instead of a very small one? That's something that
Yep.
we can look into. Yeah.
No,
Is that
that's actually a user setting we currently have.
oh, okay. That's actually good. I'm glad you mentioned that because especially as you guys bring in multiple departments, this little page here from my settings is really helpful. This is where people can set their email signature as well. And so this is that general settings to show the +1 badge. I keep forgetting that that's what that does. But if you turn this off, then you can actually go in here and you can just see all of that information. It won't do the +1. Now, it's important to note, Eric, that that is a technician by technician setting. So if you do want all of your staff to be able to see that same option, you'll just have to instruct them that they need to go in there and turn that off.
Yep.
If there's a duplicate ticket created, there is a way to merge it. All you need to do is when you're on the ticket here is click on the ticket status and click on merge tickets. And then you can search by the ticket that you want and you can just go ahead and hit continue and that will merge those tickets together. So that's a really easy way. Like you said, if there are duplicates, just to get them all together in one space for you.
The other nice thing about merging as well is that if you have the ticket that's merging into this existing one, if you have any links or anywhere you bookmarked something or you sent the link to somebody else and you happen to click that link of a ticket that's been merged into another one, it will redirect and put you to the ticket it was merged into. So that's something that was really helpful. We actually, on the Learn 21 team, had pestered the help desk developers to make sure that we could do that. So
Okay, Dustin asks, can departments have their own views and can the department supervisor change, create, and define those as needed? So yes, absolutely. Now, the best way to do this as of right now is if we come back out here and we hit create ticket view, the best way to do this is to select my view and then hit make public. Now you can here choose to make it visible to specific departments. So by default, when we go over to the actual public views page, where I'll show you in just a second, it won't show these views that are only limited by departments, but we can go ahead and make this visible by the tech team. And you can also, in the ticket view, choose to actually have a ticket view filter by a specific department. Technically speaking, if you're only in one department, this isn't really necessary, but if you are in multiple departments and you just want to see tickets that are open in the tech department, you could add this in there. But once you create public views, anybody can go in here and go to tickets and ticket views. And then they can come over here to public views and they can just subscribe to any of these. Now, as well, remember, if you make it visible to departments, it's only visible to members in there. So you can have a lot of public views that have been created, but they're only going to be visible to specific department members. That way, when people jump in here, they don't see absolutely everything. This is also a really nice time to mention that if you actually want, you can come into any of your ticket views and you can right click these and you can click notification settings here and subscribe to get notifications based on if a ticket's created, if it's replied to, or if it's closed within that ticket view. So you can actually help your department members set up notifications, for example, to get a notification if a ticket comes through at their building or different things like that.
Yeah, one other thing I wanted to add, Clay, is those department-based ticket views. Those are ticket views that get, or not department-based ticket views. Sorry, district-based ticket views. Those are for the entire district, and they go outside of your departments. So those are handed out to everyone, regardless of department.
That's right. Thanks, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next we've got front desk secretaries and library media specialists manage loaners. A loaner is needed for one of the following scenarios: lot or forgot device needs repair. To confirm, these have to have two different kiosks for them to manage this workflow for assigning loaners. Is there a way to have one single pane of glass for them to decide why they're handing out the loaner, or does it have to be independent kiosks? I'll let you speak to that one, Allie.
So there is a way for us to make it one single pane of glass. That's kind of where it gets into that custom scenario. So Cody, if you actually want to email us at support, we can actually set up a call and kind of have a discussion and make sure that we can get you exactly what you guys need.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure, because I want to make sure that we're catering to your workflow. And that's the nice thing about having it be so customizable, is that if you guys have things that you're doing at your district that are kind of unique, or you feel like, oh, I just need something that's a little bit special to make sure that I'm achieving what I need to do. That's kind of the beauty of being able to customize those. So I think, Cody, we should definitely chat.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe bring it offline just so that we can make sure that we're serving you the best we can.
Now, I know Kara just asked, let's see here, just moved away. Can you merge a ticket from the help desk side to the asset side? So as of right now, you can't, but we are currently working on the ability to link tickets with incidents. So this has been something we're continuing to talk about with districts, and we're talking about internally as a team, because obviously incidents inside of TDT asset are kind of their own thing, and the same goes with help desk tickets. But there are going to be scenarios where potentially you're going to have a ticket that is put in via help desk, or an incident that's put in a later ticket that you want to communicate, and you want to have a way to link these and know this ticket goes with this incident and vice versa. So we are working on that right now to try and figure out the best way to really help you all merge and connect your incidents and your tickets. Right now they are fairly self-contained, but there are some kind of workarounds. If you're interested, Kara, you can just send us a support ticket and we can talk about those with you.
And to speak a little bit to that as well, talking about kiosk and portal and tickets versus incidents, that's actually a lot of discussions that we've been having internally. We meet monthly to discuss, and we're making a lot of good progress. But speaking all this, we understand it's confusing. We're trying to make it as simple as possible. And if you guys have any ideas like about UI or about functionality, about how we can improve and continue to make this a little bit more cohesive, we definitely welcome your guys' feedback. That's how we make TDT Asset and TDT Help Desk so well as in work for you guys, is that we're constantly taking feedback. So if you have an idea, don't be shy. Like, we definitely welcome you guys to go ahead and shoot us an email or hop on a call with us. It helps us steer us in the right direction and give us some more perspective from what you guys are thinking at your districts. I think we left off on Q's question. Is there a way that it could auto-populate tickets within your department whenever you select merge? Clay, you hit your button on your mic.
This is a daily occurrence. I'll let you speak to this one, Eric, if you don't mind.
Eric, you're muted.
Oop. Is there a way that you can auto-populate tickets within your department when you select merge? Populate tickets. I guess I'm kind of wondering what auto-populate tickets means.
Yeah. Q, would you be able to elaborate on that? I know one thing that I will mention is probably worth stating now. It may not be related to what you're saying at all, though, Q, but if you don't currently have a department set up and you are going to be adding a department or multiple departments, and you already have tickets in TDT Help Desk, we will be able to help you send tickets to their respective departments, but it's something we have to do on the back end. So before you start adding new departments. If you don't have any right now, but you've been using the program, just put in a support ticket and let us know, and we can help you make sure that your current tickets don't just disappear when you add a department and add yourself to it, because that will happen. They're there, they don't get deleted. But if you put yourself in a department, all of those old tickets aren't currently associated. So, again, I don't know if that's exactly what you're meaning there, Q, but that made me think of it.
Yeah, and also whenever you're searching for tickets to kind of merge into another ticket, it will also look at what department you're currently in and provide your search results based off what department you're in.
Okay, let's see. As for open and closed tickets that the department selected to merge, we'll come back to this queue. We'll think about it for a second. I'll let you know. I'm gonna just jump over to Dawn really quick. Can you have reports for admin staff about tickets and how long they've been open? So one thing right now is we actually have this thing called the TDT Help Desk dashboard. It's in the reporting tab here. And so we are going to be, this is really going to be a good landing page for your administrators, especially because you can run reports, but this gives them some visual data to go off of. We're continuing to add that right now. But let me see. I know that there are ways as far as just being able to see the date of the time that they've been open. We don't have the ability for them to, know how long the ticket has actually been worked on, for technicians to actually log how much time they've worked on it. But Don, if you just need them to be able to know how long a ticket has been open for, you can actually use the dashboard to do that, just by adding these filters here by open date and close date, or just leaving the close date off. So that could be helpful for you as well. This would really be, I think, the best place for the administrators to do that. You can get the same result from ticket views, but this kind of help visualize the data better.
And with those graphs on that page, you can also filter within a specific time span. So let's say you want to look 3 years back or even 2 days back, you can also do that as well.
All right. So Cody, let's see. Users should not have to be pre-educated to know which specific way or process to create a ticket. A device incident is the same as a help desk ticket. So I mean, that's a good point. I think talking through with a lot of different districts, though, we do have situations that we've encountered where there doesn't always have to be a help desk ticket for an incident, depending on the workflow. So that's where things can get a little messy. And also for districts that have been using TDT Asset for a while now, we're going to have, different ticket IDs and different incidents for, or numbers for each of those. So that's kind of where we're getting into the discussion, trying to figure out what's the best way to help know, this isn't related to a device, it's just related to something else and things like that. So we are working through it, again, and we'll keep you guys updated in TDT Insider and things like that. If you do have feedback, though, and kind of what would be helpful for your technicians as far as being able to link those help desk and asset tickets, definitely put that in to support and let us know. Can we add fields to the ticket reports to see labels? Yes, you can. So you can add here in these reports. You can do it in ticket reports as well. It's the same builder, but if you go down here, you can actually just choose specific labels to filter by.
Well, I'm wondering if Luke is specifically asking for the ticket report itself, if the columns generated could have like a
Oh,
label section,
gotcha.
which I don't believe that currently has. So yeah, that is definitely something
Okay.
we could look into, Luke.
Yeah. Yeah, Peter, I can show you that really quick on how to do that. So, whenever you need to mass disable devices, you can actually go here to device management, and then it's bulk integration actions and bulk disable. And you just need to drop us a CSV and tell us to match by the asset tag or the serial number. Now, I did have a district tell me about a month ago that there is apparently a way to set up an OU that automatically disables devices at a specific time. I don't know how to do that, but I have seen it work in action. He showed me it on a call. So that's another thing that you can do if you do kind of want to automate this process, and you want to, just say all my loaner devices are going to get auto disabled at a specific time of date. I don't want to get outside the scope of what we're talking about too much here, but you can even use our org unit automations to help make sure that devices are in specific OUs when a device is assigned as a loaner. So again, this is the manual way to do it, but I do know that it is apparently possible via an OU to set up a time for devices in that OU to get disabled. Okay. We've got about 9 minutes left, so any other questions? It's been really good. I appreciate it. I know our whole team does. All right. Well, what we'll do then is that's pretty much all we've got. So if you all have any questions, we'll stick around here until 3 o'clock, but that's it for today's webinar. So again, feel free, send us a support ticket. We can hop on additional calls if you guys are interested in further customizations to your portal, to Kiosk and things like that. And just as a reminder, again, we are offering staff trainings to really help with your staff buy-in as you all are trying to help people use this program and have unified processes across the districts and things like that. So you can just email support for that and we can get you a link to set that up, or we can record a video, stuff like that. So if there's anything else we can do to support you guys as you're using TDT Asset and Help Desk, please let us know. But we'll stick around here for a couple more minutes if any of you all have any questions. And so if you're good, you guys are free to head out and enjoy the rest of your day. And we really appreciate you all showing up. Thanks, everybody. Actually schedule a meeting. We're going to look into switching to help desk. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Q, just let us know and we can talk about, we can get you a link to schedule a meeting if you don't have one already. Yeah, no worries, Cody. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Peter. Good to see you.
Awesome, Dustin. Yeah. And like I said, you can also let your superintendents know that we can offer those free trainings to kind of help. That's been the biggest things that, that's why we're really trying to, especially with TDT Help Desk, encourage people because one of the biggest things with other departments bringing them in is obviously people have their workflows and they have what they're used to. But if bringing TDT Help Desk would be a great way to kind of unify things at your district, we do offer those trainings to help with a little bit of the getting over the bump of getting people to switch from something they're used to.
Thanks, Q. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks,
Cody.
Cody.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dustin.
Thanks, Dustin.
One other thing to throw out for TDT Asset District specifically, I think I mentioned it at the end of the last webinar, but we are looking for districts that would like to opt into our early access release for the next school year. So basically that just means that rather than kind of the loosey-goosey flow we've had so far about letting people like opt in at will whenever they wanted to try out features early, um, you guys are able to go ahead and fill out our Google form that went out in the most recent TDT Insider. And that'll just let you guys opt in and say, yeah, I want to be on the early access permanently for the 2025-26 school year. You guys will receive the version releases about 3 weeks early. That just gives you the chance to kind of kick the tires and see how things are going. And as a thank you for, being our guinea pigs and testing out that code for us, we do offer that as a free service to you guys. So that code is tested and approved by our tech team, but it helps us make sure that TDT Acid is as stable as possible when it comes to those version releases. And you get to try out all the features early. So and then Cody, can you give us a reminder and update for the next event in the series? I think
It's
the
Wednesday, May 7th at 2 p.m.
yes. And then the one after that will be on the 21st. We should be able, we'll have to talk with our marketing team and we should be able to try and send out some reminders before those. Late question, is there a notification piece to remind techs of any old or open tickets? I'm assuming that's inside of help desk, correct, Eric? Yes,
Where you,
okay. Yeah, our Eric, do you want to answer that?
where are you seeing the question?
Eric from Piqua, sorry, late question. Is there a notification piece to remind techs of any old or open tickets?
There's not currently a notification specifically for kind of a threshold on how old a ticket it is and should a notification be sent if it's over X amount of time, but that is definitely something we would like to add in the future.
No problem. Do we have any sort of scheduling or calendar features? Is that in relation to help desk? Okay. Clay, Eric.
Yeah. Clay, have you seen any other districts um, that are using FMX for this specifically?
So we do have some districts that have switched over from FMX. We don't have a scheduling or calendar feature in TDT Help Desk yet, but it is something that we're looking into. One thing is that I know our team is currently working on tasks within tickets, and I know that was a big request from the maintenance side specifically. Obviously, it'll be helpful for technicians as well in the tech department, but that is something that you'll be able in a future update. I don't have an ETA on it right now, but I have seen the progress. Is you'll be able to select different tasks to be done within specific tickets. So I know that I'm not sure if our districts that have switched over from FMX were using the scheduling feature a lot in it, but it's definitely something that we're looking into adding into help desk in the future, especially for the maintenance crew.
Well, it looks like we're winding down here. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out at support@learn21.org. And then this webinar recording will be available at support.learn21.org. So feel free to check in there if you guys need to share this with any of your other teammates, or check out last time's webinar. That was 2 weeks ago. Other than that, you guys have a great evening.
Yeah. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.